Well, I was born in Mount Clemens. Our farm was 14 miles north of there, and it was Spartan conditions. Went to a one-room school in the 7th and 8th grade, and we had a two-hole outhouse. Had no indoor plumbing, so I guess I had a 1-2 education in that regard. Um, but we didn't know we were poor, and there was enough love in the family, and we always had it was the same meal Monday, Tuesday, every week it was the same meal, but they were good meals. My mother was a good cook, and she'd treat us to a good old apple pie. We had an apple orchard, and the memories are very solid. It was the foundation for what I am now. No one was very important in a little town of Armada, Michigan, graduating class, high school 33, I think I've benefited from the fact that not ever expecting much, any of the wonderful things that have happened in my life, I embrace them, and I certainly appreciate them. Well, the event was when I applied in a little radio station in Mount Pleasant, Michigan for $1 an hour custodial job. I had worked in a Detroit factory the summer before as a custodian, so I knew how to handle the right end of a mop and a broom. And my fraternity brother had a job at this radio station, $1 an hour, and he was graduating. I said, put in a good word for me. That's the best paying job around. I think I was making 60 cents an hour busting trays in the dormitory. So he did. I got an interview. The general manager said, hey, Enberg, you've got a decent voice. Threw me into a studio, turned on a tape recorder, gave me a 5-minute news summary and a couple of commercials, said read. I said, don't I get to look it over first? No, read, let's see what you do. So I left the station. 3 weeks later, I came back. He called me in, thought I had the job. He said, you have the job. I said, great. Where's the broom closet? He said, no, you're our new weekend disc jockey. I said, how much does that pay? He said, $1 an hour. So they weren't looking for quality, but think about it. He changed my life. What if he had given me the job that I applied for, custodial? I mean, who knows where I would be right now. Instead, I started as a disc jockey. Within 3 weeks, I was calling football games and then basketball games and had my own 15-minute sports show. So Russ Holcomb was his name, truly changed my life. Well, my motivation to succeed and driven to be good is from my father. My mother would accept some failures, although she wanted to see all A's on that report card. But it was my dad who never would compliment me. He was a very tough Finlander. He was a product of the Depression. He was afraid that if he praised me, I'd become soft. And so he would be at all my games, football, basketball, baseball games in high school, but never give me a pat on the back. He just thought that would ruin me in some way. And much later in life, after I was divorced, my dad came to live with me in Los Angeles, and I finally was able to say, I love you, Dad, because he had never told me that. And I broke him down, and finally he was able to say, I love you too, son. And we were able to complete that relationship. But he's been gone 33 years now, and there's not a day that I'm in a broadcast booth that I think about him and hope he appreciates that I'm doing the best I can. No way in my wildest dreams could I have imagined this privileged life happening. You know, I wanted to be the athlete. I never had any desire to be a broadcaster. I wanted to be the guy behind center quarterbacking, or the right fielder with the Detroit Tigers. I kind of gave up on basketball at 5'11" and a half. I had to play center in our little high school because we didn't have many players. That accounts for I broke the nose a couple of times. I was perfect level for the other guys at center's elbow. And I fouled out of every game. I had to hold on. I had to do something to slow them down. So I gave up basketball, but I wanted to be the athlete. And that's probably the greatest disappointment in my life, that in college that I didn't win a varsity letter and be a part of a collegiate team. That's a very difficult question. There have been so many honors and recognitions. Being in the halls of fame of football, basketball, and baseball would be a a good place to start. I mean, I've been recognized by my peers as being of Hall of Fame quality in those three sports. The other is to be in the Academic All-America Hall of Fame as a college professor and someone who loves education. The fact that I've been recognized on that level, academic and athletic level. I will say, maybe because it's the law of recency, it's the most recent honor, that going to Cooperstown 2 years ago for the Hall of Fame, that was the greatest weekend of my life. That was a culmination of my privileged career. Well, I'd probably tell him what my parents told me, that you work hard and there's a reward in working hard, and that's carried over into my preparation as a broadcaster. Work hard, be honest, and care about your fellow man. That you're not the only man on the planet or only boy on the planet. Care about your friends. They may be your friends for life, and if you care about them, it's likely they'll care about you, and it's a pretty good formula. Well, you've got to fight for your educational rights. I mean, I don't think as much education as someone can obtain or be able to afford. I mean, certainly up through high school, but try to get a college education. And I think that, at least in the broadcasting aspect, I think the best broadcasters are all good writers. I mean, if your audience, you were asked, well, how about Al Michaels? He's really a good writer. How about Keith Jackson? He's really a good writer. And you can go on down the line. I think the elite broadcasters all write well. And we think in terms of a game, an event, as a theater, a drama. And as a writer, how are you going to write this first quarter? And how is it going to change in the second and third? And how are you going to wrap up the play in the final quarter before the curtains are drawn? How does it tie in with the premise you had when the game or the event first started? And I think if you, as a writer, that thought process is more ingrained. And it certainly, I believe, has helped me to be a better broadcaster. Well, it's the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. No one's perfect. We all make mistakes in that regard, and there are selfish times, and certainly in broadcasting, it's full of big egos. And I would hope people always would look back at me and say, well, he enhanced the game. He made the game more pleasant for me as a listener or as a viewer. But he never tried to be the game. I'm just part of the big, broad millions of fans, and I'm lucky enough to be able to sit next to a Hall of Famer or a famous athlete at every event that I've covered, and hopefully enhanced the experience for the audience. And I would be deeply hurt if, and probably there's some that feel this way, that they felt, oh no, turned down and heard Enberg's voice. Oh no, Enberg, I'm not going to listen to him. I think for the most part, people who heard my voice felt they're going to get a quality job, they're going to get a job that from great preparation, and one, maybe the most important part of it all, with passion. It's in my heart. I love it. Sports are in my DNA. I can't help but love what I do.